All right. Good morning. All right, we're going to go ahead and call the April 20th, 2026 meeting of the Parking Commission to order and welcome our newest member, Nolan Wilhite. Nolan, welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate having you on the commission with us. First order on our docket is election of officers. Our current slate is myself as president. We have vice president vacant, and then Cindy Murray as secretary. Do we have any suggestions on filling vice president right now, or does that need to be filled? Or?
We should fill it.
Fill that right now. Okay. So.
Can we nominate Scott practices?
Yeah.
He isn't here.
I mean, you miss a meeting, that is your election officers, that's your downfall. So, I mean, I don't think that he would have any objections, so.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would nominate Scott to be our vice president.
Thank you. Do we have a second on that?
I second that.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify with aye.
We
Aye.
need to
Oh,
do
sorry.
the whole slate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to confirm the motion
okay.
is for
Confirm this-
Andrew, you as president,
Thank you,
Scott
okay.
as vice president, and Cindy as secretary.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay, so motion to accept our current slate, myself as president, Scott as vice president, and Cindy as secretary. Do I have another motion? to
So
accept?
moved.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay, thank you. We have our minutes from the October 2025 meeting. Our January meeting was canceled. Do we have any issues with those as they stand, or a movement to accept? Motion to approve. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign? Okay, thank you. All right, new business. Petition to install one ADA compliant accessible parking space adjacent to 1606 Underwood Street. Petitioner Kathleen McMillan.
Yep. The petitioner is Kathleen McElwain. She lives there at 1606 Underwood. I'll scroll down to show you. So just like with all of our other ADA requests, there is a, whoops, let me get through the minutes, sorry. There is a letter request that's signed, essentially requesting the plate, understanding that the parking spot is not for them exclusively, but is a public spot utilized for anybody that has a hanging tag, thank you, a hang tag or a plate, but that it will be placed in proximity to their location. So she signed that. We have a picture of her hang tag. It does expire at the end of this year, but she said before that expiration, she would have a permanent one.
Okay.
And then the location of the property and roughly where the spot will go. If you see there, there's a walkway that kind of divides that front yard. Nick and his team will normally put the spot, on one side of that walk to keep as many public parking spaces as possible. And kind of make it so, 2 cars can fit in front of the house or whatever that looks like. So, pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, thank you.
Second?
Second, thank you. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 Opposed, same sign? All right, thank you. That is approved. Next is petition to install one ADA compliant accessible parking space adjacent to 626 South 21st Street. Petitioner Brenda Hicks.
Yep. So same thing as above, signed letter from Brenda Hicks. We have a picture of her license plate. And then we have the property. I will say for this one, the review of this one was a little bit different. They do have parking and alley access in the back. This is for their daughter who has special needs and parks in the front. The access for this one in the front of the house was easier for her to navigate than it was from the back. The distance is a little bit shorter. The terrain is flatter. So just so that you're aware of that, whenever these come in, we do look for alley access, any parking that they have behind the house, garage space. So we do take that into consideration. And when asked about those things, that was the response from them. So we do try to make it as accommodating as possible, but we do like to take in factors since we're removing public parking on the streets and putting in specific ADA compliant spaces.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Motion to approve.
I move we approve this submission.
Second.
Second, thank you. All right, all those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Next is petition to remove parking on the west side of Willow Drive. Lafayette Fire Department is,
Yep, so the petitioner here was the fire chief, the fire department. Essentially, the Willow is too narrow with parking on both sides to adequately allow emergency vehicles up and down Willow. So the request was made to remove parking from one side of the street. I reached out to engineering. After Jeremy took a look at it, he thought that the west side was the side to remove. Most of that traffic, I think, is turning from Willow right onto Union.
Union.
And it's 4 lanes, so that if cars weren't parked there, it'd be easy for cars to get out. That was the recommendation, and then the marker is here. So removing parking all along the west side of Willow. Letters were sent out to the neighbors, and I should go back to, with handicap spaces as well, letters are sent out to adjoining property owners to let them know that those spaces are being requested, so. Letters were sent out to everyone on the street, homeowners on the street, and then we have the diagram. Sorry, it doesn't quite fit on one screen, but we have the diagram there removing the parking on the west side of Willow Drive.
do we have any public comment?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
Can you,
If you could,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
I will
state your
as
name.
soon as
Oh, sure.
As soon as I get done. I have some visuals for you. I don't have a computer, so
Oh,
basically, I turn things up. You might have to share them. I live Lafayette Willow Drive since 1977. We've never had issues with parking. But now all of a sudden, we're starting to have cars that just set up. That might have been, you're gonna have to share this.
oh, wait.
I need to give this to somebody else.
Oh,
Okay.
you want that
Well,
back?
that's,
Yeah,
that's,
that's another violation.
that's different.
Going down.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to share. There's pictures. There's a couple houses on Willow Drive. They mentioned
I
that,
don't think this is it.
No.
he mentioned that he wanted it west
Yeah.
side only, the east side. The
There's
east
that.
side of Willow Drive is where I am having a problem because I live on the west side. I cannot get my camper or my boat in my driveway without the people on the east side of the street moving vehicles. I have jackknifed my truck twice because they tell me, oh, we can't move the vehicle, or they'll tell me that it's a city street, it's free, we can park anywhere we want to. These are things I'm dealing with. I've already made one body job on my truck that was $1,800 because of this issue I'm having. And I would like to request that the street is only 21 foot wide. I was raised on Cason Street. I went and measured Cason Street, and I went and measured some other streets in the city. Cason Street is 23 feet wide with no parking on either side of the street in Cason Street. Ferry Street is 4 cars wide with no parking on it, 26th Street. And these are just a few of them that, you know, I've got up in my head that I'm looking at and thinking, okay, these streets are like this and there's no parking, and Willow is like this. They park at the end of, and you'll see they park at the end of my driveway. There is, I'll have to get mine out so I can understand what we're all talking about. So picture number 1 is they're parking at the end of my driveway. So I went over, and this is December 4th. I went over and I knocked on their door. I said, could you please not park at the end of my driveway? So they moved this white Ford truck. As you notice, if you go to page 2, December 5th, guess what? I have a van parked now at the end of my driveway. And if you look at like 3 and 4 and the other pictures, there's like 15 cars parking up and down Union Street. 6 of them are from one house, 4 of them are from another house. There's also a enclosed trailer that is sitting at the end of the lane. There's also a car sits on the left, sitting right by a fire hydrant, which, okay, I talked to the fire chief because I was a fireman for 37 years, and I went in and talked to Al Kyer, and he goes, it has to have a curb, and we have to mark it with yellow so that makes it legal they can't park there. But, okay, they're parking beside a fire hydrant, you know? So then, other issues I have is vehicles sitting there that haven't moved in 3 and 4 years, that have expired plates on them, that I have got a hold of the police department when they come down the lane, and we'll take care of it. Okay, well, a lot of times they might move that vehicle, and I understand that the police department's busy. These people, if they move that vehicle for 30 seconds, it's legal again. It's not sitting there for 5 days, you know? So, I mean, I understand what's going on with the police department as far as them not being able to do much about it. But I am here, and you'll see, like this dark copy. There's 2 of those. This was when I came home last night, and I've got people parking at the end of my driveway, and I have trouble getting in and out. Now, I'm what I call a nice neighbor, and I'm not bragging on myself, but my neighbor's across the street that has all these vehicles. Their daughter come over and asked me, my grandma passed away, could we park in your driveway? Yeah, no problem. So I moved my vehicles out of the way so they've got access to park in my driveway. Well, I didn't realize that they mourn for a week. So for a week, I've got these people parking in my driveway. There's 50 cars up and down Union Street parking in people's yards because they're having this wake, whatever it is. So they have a side lot, excuse me. My mouth's getting dry, I talk too much, I guess. But they have a side lot on the north side of their house that they parked 10 cars in, plus they're parking on the street. I noticed there was 2 people that they must have decided it was over. So they get in their car, they drive through the yard on Melody that Ray Sullivan owns, drove beside his house and his garage, and went out Melody Lane and left. They didn't even bother moving vehicles so that they can come out the normal way they came in. So they really, to me, I have respect for everybody, no matter what. But they seem not to have any respect for me when they park their vehicles there and they tell me, we don't have to move our vehicles. It's a city street and it's free. So what do I do? You know, so I mentioned it to the fire department. Well, Al Kyer, and we've discussed, I had Mayor drive down the street. I talked to him one day after a fireman funeral and had him drive down the street, and he goes, well, that ain't right. Okay, you have one house that has 8 cars. 6 of them are on the street. So if this person has 8 cars, and as far as you can't park for 5 days without it being abandoned. So every day if they drive a car, 5 days, there's still 3 cars that sit there for 5 days. So it's an abandoned car. So then it goes back to the police department. If they move that car 1 foot, okay, we're good. So then I'm back to fighting it again. So that's why I am here trying to get you just to, no parking on Willow Drive. These people have driveways, they've got garages, but they seem to think that they own the street, you know? I'm just one person.
Is it,
You know.
is it a rental property?
No,
No.
supposedly they own it. I don't know. I know the property to the right, he once in a while walks over, and I don't know if he makes a monthly, I don't know. I don't know. That's not me, and I can't speak to him, you know? The only way I speak to him is their son is like 21 years old, and he's been in Lafayette probably most of his life, so he learned a little English, whatever. So this is where my dilemma is.
So could we start with the west side and then would we have, go ahead, Regan.
So it seems like for the petition today, what you would do is either approve or table it. But we're making the petition for removing on the west side. If the next step then, because someone recommends removing parking on the east side,
Right.
we'd have to bring that back because no petition has been created
Right.
for it today.
Right.
I will say too, as far as the neighbor letters that went out, they went out to those specific addresses, not rental
Yeah.
companies that own the houses. So all five on the east side all went directly to those addresses, not a third-party company or a separate address,
There's actually 6 houses.
including the one on Union.
No,
Oh,
there's 6
of
houses
them,
on
that
each
one.
side.
Okay.
So
Even the one on Union also got both
Well,
of the ones facing
yeah,
got
and that's-
letters as well.
he's at the end of the lane on the left, but he's on the west side.
Right, okay.
So my thing is we've got 6 driveways on the east side. So if you eliminate the parking on the east side, you're only eliminating 3 spots that somebody can park on the east side. But then on the west side.
Right.
So now on the east side, there's a parking lot, you know? So my thing is to me, and like he mentioned, let's not worry about the west side parking. Let's bring this back to you all again and do it either no parking on Willow Drive or no parking on the east side of Willow Drive, you know? I mean, because I've already spent a lot of body work getting my truck fixed because of this issue, you know? I went back in one time, there was a big full-size van sitting there. I went over and knocked on the door. I said, hey, could you move your van? I can't get my camper in. They come back out, don't run, can't move it. It's okay.
So we probably need to move with west side though, right? Because of the fire department.
So the petition, and Jackie, for clarity, but the petition was made by the fire department
Yeah.
for access to
Right.
emergency vehicles.
So,
So removing parking on one side satisfies today's petition
Right.
for the request. If a request is to be made on the east side, that petitioner could potentially be this gentleman for our next meeting in July.
Right.
But I think as far as today's petition goes, it either needs to be tabled, but it really probably should just be voted on.
Right.
Right.
And then could be the first step to removing parking on the other side.
Right.
At a
What-
future date.
What Michael's really getting at, and what I think procedurally from clean, is you have a petition in front of you today to eliminate parking on one side of Willow Lane at the request of the fire department. That's what's in front of you today. If there is ultimately a further conversation that needs to happen about whether or not it should be no parking on both sides, that would be a separate petition, again, by someone that lives on the street, or if we had issues. And then we could look at whether or not parking needed to be restricted on both sides. But what is in front of you today is removal of the one side, so that it's part of what he's asking for, but it's what is actually on our agenda today to work
Right.
to be able to vote on.
Yeah, and I
Does that
talked
make
to
sense?
Chief, well, and I
Yeah.
talked to Chief Alcar, we didn't get communicating right,
Yeah.
you know? And he said that he at that time didn't know what side of the street I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So he threw the motion at you all to do it on the west side,
Right.
thinking that was gonna solve a problem. But
Yeah, and so that's what's in front of us. You know, we can do that. Again, none of these decisions, as we know, are ever set in stone forever. So if we go in and you vote to approve the parking on the one side today, but then it doesn't solve the issue in terms of emergency traffic or the parking or anything like that, I mean, we can't come back and re-examine that decision at a later date.
Yeah, because even last night, well, I should say 1 o'clock this morning, the med bus came down and picked up my neighbor's grandson. They drove down at the end of Willow Drive. Now, there's a trailer sitting down there. There's a car sitting down there, plus the vehicle sitting in the street. It took them 4 times to back up to get out of the street. The sanitation, I've talked to sanitation. They hate Willow Drive
Yeah.
because it is a pain in the you-know-where to back it up in there when you only have a foot or so on each side. The city street sweeper hasn't been down my street in months because he cannot come down and turn around and come back out and sweep the west side. You know, so I mean,
Yeah. Well, I'd say we recommend, at least from my viewpoint, let's get the one started and then revisit.
and I do appreciate that. And I knew that we were gonna have to, since, okay, this is already on the table, we have to deal with that. I understand that. So, will I have to come back in July
We can talk
and
about that.
request it? Okay, okay, all righty. Well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Did you want these back?
No, you can keep them, so it kinda lets you remember,
Okay.
you know? Because I see it every day.
Sounds good.
You know? And then I've got vehicles in that you've seen, that there's 2 of them, and I can't remember, at 826 Willow Drive is the address. Those 2 vehicles, they towed in on a flatbed from Chicago. The one has a Illinois plate still on it that's sitting by his house.
Are they on this?
The one green Suburban that's sitting in the driveway, there was a police officer that came and met them in their driveway last year, and I think it was August. They checked their VIN number. Checked out, okay, yep, you own this vehicle. They signed a piece of paper. These people went down and got a new registration, got them a new license, up-to-date license plate. It still sits there. They don't move it, it won't run.
So it does not run, it's inoperable.
Nope,
So
nope.
that's,
Both of them do not run.
okay. And are they on the same property?
Yep.
So I believe if it's on private property that doesn't run, I believe that's a 15-day issue. So, you know, and there are games you can play with it, but I'll go over and we'll start working on this today. If you know that there's a vehicle on the street that's inoperable, let us know that also.
There's a red one.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you know the address?
No, but it's the last house on the right. There's a red vehicle. I know it's been sitting there for 6 months that has not moved. I don't know if it's inoperable. I have no idea. But I know it don't move, you know? I mean, kinda Cindy kinda knows me, you know? I've been around, but it's like pulling teeth, you know? I mean, that's one reason I came to this, to try to figure out if I could take care of that, you know? And I know you guys are busy, don't get me wrong. I knew when I was fire department years ago, we sat in recliners and watched TV and very seldom went out and fought fires. Well, now that the city started doing the med runs, we're busy all the time, same with you all, you know? You're doing the drug runs, and, you know, all that stuff. And I understand that this is kind of a back burner type thing, and I do understand that, but, you know, me as a taxpayer living on this street since 1977, I'd like to see something get done,
If they're in violation, we obviously will look at it. Yeah.
because, you know, I don't, who would I get a hold of about junk in people's yards?
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement, and that's in this building? Okay, because that was where, the pictures you had earlier, that's where those are going. Because the same person from Chicago gets in trouble up there by having building materials and all this stuff on his property in Chicago. So he loads it up on a flatbed and brings it to Willow Drive and puts it on that property, you know? But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll,
Yeah.
you'll see me again in July.
If you're gonna, like, come to code enforcement in person, start in the engineering department, because they're kind of tucked away where public can't get into them, so go to the engineers and they'll call them out.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, that was like, I'd never seen the new fire department before,
Oh, did you see it?
and I went over and seen
Oh,
Al and he goes, let me show you
Oh,
around.
that's cool, yeah.
This is a heck of a lot better than number one when we were down there, you know? And you guys got a gorgeous police department over there, you know?
You retired too early.
No, I didn't. You know, I worked 37 years. I went on in 79 when I was 21 years old. I worked till I was 58. I came home one day after making a med run and I told my wife, I said, I need to retire. I'm losing my filter or I'm gonna get fired.
Oh,
So
I,
I retired, you know, and that's, she's still working, which I like.
oh,
I go fishing more. But thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so we still have review of that, removal of parking on the west side. Yeah, we need to vote on it, yeah. So do we have a motion to approve the removal of that parking on the west side of Willow Drive?
So moved.
I'd second that.
Thank you. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Thank you. That is moved. Next is petition to remove parking on the east side of Walker Court, Lafayette Fire Department as well.
Yep, so another petition to remove parking, this time on the east side of Walker Court. It's my understanding that, so there on the south end of Walker Court, there is no parking, and it's already signage there that indicates that. I think this was brought up and approved at some time prior. The signs were never installed. So after talking with Jackie for this one, rather than just go and put up the signs, just wanted to mail out the letters, make sure that neighbors were aware that this was happening. And it's kind of a continuation of what has probably already been approved. Now, I will say in the space in between the two houses on the east side of Walker Court, Habitat for Humanity is going to build 2 homes there. So there will be 2 drive approaches there. So it won't be quite as open as what it is now. But again, emergency vehicles and then flow of traffic. So anytime the city or a city department makes a recommendation, we look at those 2 things and have a request made from engineering and normally the fire department, so.
Thank you. Questions?
You know the timeline for those houses?
I'm sorry,
You know the timeline?
I'm not sure if they start this year or if it's a next year project. Actually, I think they're still in process of getting their variance.
They are. I don't think they're there this year. They're
That's
not
what-
this year project.
That's what I
so,
thought, because the
yeah.
sign is currently up for the variance, so I would say they're in next year construction.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, thank you. Any other?
You might want to see if there's any public comment
Yeah.
here.
Okay, sir. Yes, please. And just state your name. when you-
Brian Kramer,
Okay, thank you, Brian.
and I actually live on Walker Court. And we got the letter, but it really didn't clarify exactly what this was for. As he pointed, do you have the visual? I don't know if you have visuals.
We do, yeah.
Okay, so I actually live the second house from the bottom there on the left.
Okay.
Walker Court runs east to west until it comes around the curve. And there's only a short section, 4 houses, where it runs north to south, where we have an east and a west side of the road. Okay, currently, we haven't had a huge problem because obviously there's not a whole lot of houses on the east side of the road. And, you know, we all have driveways, but we also have the front of our house where we park our own personal vehicles. So my question is, what is this that you're wanting to do? How's that going to affect our parking on the west side of Walker Court?
It's not. So there will just be no parking signs posted on the east side of Walker Court on that north-south stretch.
Okay. So you're talking about the people here.
Yeah, I think there's already no parking signs established on this side of Walker Court.
Okay, well, and that's what I wanted to make sure, because you're probably not aware, people aren't supposed to park there, but the east to west section of Walker Court is very, very narrow. It's barely 2 lanes as it is. And as often as not, we've got several people who park their cars in front of their house, and they turn Walker Court into a 1-lane road. If you're trying to get out of the neighborhood, you have to go way over on the left side of the road to make the right turn onto Powder House. The school bus currently can only access the neighborhood from Powder House Road off of Elston. The schoolhouse has to stop at the corner of Powder House and Walker Court. That's where they dump off all the kids. And because we have all these cars, the kids are having to walk in the middle of the street, the length of the block. We're talking grade school kids, because there's no sidewalk for the kids to walk on. A lot of times you come through, it's very dangerous because you got kids who are darting in front between the cars. A lot of kids in the street. So, and I don't know if you're the ones that do something about that. On the corner of Walker Court and Powder House, there's a gentleman, he must own a business because he's got a covered trailer with pulled by a big pickup truck. He's got a dump truck, and he parks them literally right on the corner, very frequently blocking the stop sign. You can't see making a right-hand turn off of Walker Court. You can't see making a left-hand turn off of Powder House. And often, there's cars parked on both sides of Powder House Lane turning off of Elston Road. So you're kind of having to sandwich between the two vehicles. We already have to pull over and let people through because of the number of cars and the way they park. So he's talking about more houses coming in on Walker Court between the 2 houses there. And I just want to make sure that these people will not be allowed to park in front of our houses. And that the current people who are parking on the street, who are turning this into a 1-lane road, are aware they have driveways. I don't think anybody on Walker Court wants strangers parking in front of their house, and I realize maybe there's an easement, but essentially, that's our yards. You know, we have to take care of it. We park, that's where we put our trash, our yard waste. We don't want strangers, people traipsing through our yards, extra trash. And I know at the county meeting, when it was brought up, the APC meeting, someone had requested that there be enough space. He's got a boat. He was concerned about, like the gentleman that was here, being able to get his boat out because of these houses going in across the street. So that's our concerns, is we don't want people parking in our yards. We would like these people who are currently parking in front of their houses to understand that you can't do that. It's dangerous.
So it sounds a lot like the last one, right?
Very similar. I would say like the last one though, on Willow, there are some houses that have, I wouldn't say it's on-street parking, it's actually a space or a gravel kind of, some gravel kind of weed space that's just off the street. And I would say Walker Court is very similar, that they are off the road. So where the mailbox is, there's typically a space that's just off the street. I didn't notice, normally when these happen, I go up a couple different times and do an unofficial traffic count to see just kind of who's parking, what time, what it looks like. And on the 4 different times that I went up on different days and different weeks, there wasn't a lot of parked traffic on that east side. And I didn't actually see a lot of people even using a lot of their own spaces, what I would say is in their yard. So it didn't seem to be a huge issue, but those are just random times, right? A lot of people are at work when I'm at work trying to figure this out, so maybe in the evenings it's a bigger problem. But posting those no parking signs will specifically, tell people not to park on that side of the street, leaving the other side of the street for parking. And if they're parking just off in their yard, that's not necessarily public parking.
But didn't the thing say you're talking about moving parking to the west side of the street and no parking on the east?
No, no, that doesn't encourage parking on the west. That's just saying you can't park in these grassy areas or on this side of the street.
Right.
So we're just alleviating parking on that side
So
of
are
the
the
street.
people who are gonna be moving in here, are they going to be allowed to park over here on our side of the street?
They'll both have no, because the no parking signs will still be there,
Not on our side of the street,
not
though.
on your side of the street.
So what's gonna stop people from parking on our side of the street in front of our yards? That's my concern, because they
Yeah.
will if it's open parking.
It's open parking now, and I did not notice a number of cars, or really any cars, parked on that side of the street at any given time, but it's a
Because
small
there's,
sample.
yeah, there's no houses there yet, that's what I'm getting at. There's no houses on this side of the road. When they build them, there's going to be, more houses here. So are the people that are here, that are gonna be built in these habitat houses, are they going to be allowed to park on our property?
No, they can't park on your property, but they can park on a public street. But they will also have drive approaches with garages.
They already do, but they're doing this. We have one guy whose driveway's open and he's in the street. Open, I mean, his driveway, and he's still in the street.
So, this is how that gets enforced is different than what this commission does, so.
Yeah, and I understand that, but like I'm saying, there's no sidewalk.
Yeah.
So when you say street parking, okay, they can't literally park in the street because then it would turn that into a one-lane road. So if they want to park with off-road parking, it would be at the front of our driveway. It would be in front of our houses, rather.
Yes, what you're saying is correct.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, in preparing for this meeting, I did not see any evidence of that, but it is a much smaller section. I don't live there, so I don't see it 7 days a week, right? So I didn't feel uncomfortable making this petition or suggestion because it was going to cause chaos. This seemed just like kind of a continuation of what was already happening. It's not that side of the street because it runs east and west. So on the other part of Walker, it's the north side of Walker has no parking. Then the continuation of where it turns and runs north and south, the east side would have a continuation of no parking.
So will I have the right, if someone parks in my driveway, to tell them to move? It's my property.
Well, yeah, of
In your
course,
driveway,
that's-
absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, I'm talking about in front of my house, and that's, what is considered an easement, and that's my concern. Like, right now, if there's a sidewalk, you can park along the sidewalk. There's no sidewalk.
It's still public road. I mean, from the pavement to the pavement, and I don't know the exact right-of-way dimensions, but that's all public road. I mean, anything that is paved under asphalt or concrete, I'm not sure what it is there, from edge to edge, that's all city street.
Okay, so they can park
They
city
can't
street.
park to block, like, for example, if you're saying they can't park and block your driveway, because then they're prohibiting your ingress and egress from your house. But if your concern is just parking on the street, it's public parking. That's the same thing that applies anywhere across the city. You know, if it's on the public street, it is public parking.
So if they decide they want to get off the street and they're in my yard,
They can't do that.
Can't be in-
They can't do that. They cannot go in your yard. If they're parking in your yard, like actually pulling into your yard, that is a violation. That's when you call LPD or code enforcement. But if you're just talking about on the street,
but my yard ends where the street begins, correct?
I can't answer that with certainty without seeing a survey or anything like that. But generally, I'm going to presume that is pretty accurate.
So if someone's parked in my yard and I park on the street right beside them, I'm okay.
I mean, if you're parked on the street, yeah. I mean, but people cannot. I mean, even if it's your own home, we don't allow yard parking in the city of Lafayette. So there should be no parking in a yard, period.
Okay, so there's no easement, that they can't say this is an easement technically, because it's an easement, I can park there in front of your house.
On the road, yes. In your yard, no. Does that help answer your question?
Yes and no, I mean, it remains to be seen, like, and did you say that the houses aren't gonna be built this year?
I don't believe that they're scheduled for construction this year. So I know they've been getting all of their approvals, but I'm not aware of a groundbreaking date for any of those houses.
Okay, I know they moved pretty quick on the last ones, they were very, very quick. Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other public comment? Any questions? comments? Concerns? We have a motion to accept the removal of parking on the west side of Walker Court? East side, sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. Thank you. East side of Walker Court.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next is petition to remove parking on north side of Union Street. Petitioner is the city of Lafayette.
All right, so another petition from the city. You can see there's an email from our city engineer, Jeremy, to our department to remove one single parking space on Union on the north side between 9th and 10th. This is specifically for the bike lane that comes off on 10th Street. There's a jag there, so 10th Street is here, and then across Union, it's staggered. With that spot, with parking in that spot, it makes visibility coming off of 10 to connect on that bike trail challenging. So removing that parking spot will alleviate some of the danger for pedestrians and bicyclists to cross Union Street to use that bike path. Now, the reason why it's marked on the other side also is there is a hydrant there. I don't believe there's any parking there now. I was gonna talk to Nick about that anyway, but I thought if we were gonna stripe the one spot in front, that we could maybe stripe the rest where the hydrant is, which wouldn't allow for parking anyway. So I just went ahead and marked the spots between 9th and 10th, but this is a visibility issue, and it was brought forth by the city engineers department.
Do we have any public comment on this one? Thank you.
Yep.
Questions, concerns?
Well, I make a motion to remove the parking on the north side of Union Street between 9th and 10th.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Thank you. All right, we are through those. On to the parking operations report if there is one. No?
Parking operations is good.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a staff report at all?
Yeah, so just a quick update on the staff report. I'm in the midst of updating our downtown parking map. It hasn't been updated since 2016, which means some new buildings have been constructed and some parking lots are gone. This is not a map of public parking. It does include public parking, but it's public and private. It just gives us an idea of what kind of parking is available in downtown. And then making a count and location of our ADA accessible spaces, 20-minute parking spaces, loading zone spaces, 2-hour parking spaces. So working on that map now. I don't know that it's something that has to be presented at commission, but probably when it's done, I'll just include it in a packet for either the next staff report, or if for some reason we don't have a July meeting, we can talk about it at our next meeting. So those are just the quick updates there.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any final public comment? Okay, looks like we can, oh, did
Did you have a comment?
you have
Paul?
any comments before we adjourn?
Yes, I have to give my address.
No, just,
Yeah.
I don't want to get shot. But I got a 12-foot fence, so, and it's made out of oak. You guys do a pretty good job on parking downtown, but there's one thing, I'm from Ohio. And believe me, before I got here, I got a couple tickets, it still sticks right here. Parking right there in front of the fire plug, there's no excuse. These city policemen, when they're cruising, they ought to stop, give a guy a $50 fine, and then they won't do it no more. And parking or down there where I got, now it's not so bad, but I can't think of the name of the street, but anyhow, he has a lot of beer parties. And these guys, these farmers like to show off these big diesel trucks. Well, they pull up and they block a stop sign. So you park out you pull up at a stop sign. About 3 or 4 years ago, I lost my car. Cause some lady come around the corner and Lamb Street, come off of 21st, took my whole front end out of my car. so he could drink beer. You can't, Americans, there's only one way to talk to Americans that's stupid to the law, and that's to get into the billfold. If you park near a plug, if you park near a stop sign, fine them. Fine them. There's no warnings. It's safety. And if you guys want to brag about 250 years, well, let's start with safety. Let's start putting these police officers busy of giving these guys $50 to $100 fines. And you don't want to do it once, because I don't park near a stop sign. I don't park near a power plug. And I do it definitely when I park, when I'm on Lamb Street, I don't go everywhere. But Lamb Street, when they come around there, they'll take your old friend into your car. So we have not got safety in our mind. And Lafayette, right now, you see how it's going, and all these kids going up down my street, 22nd Street, they were not protecting them kids. The sidewalks are bad, the kids are walking out in the street, everything else. We need to protect our kids. We're old. I'm old. I'm only gonna live about 3 years. So if they can't hit me, they're gonna get 3 years. Now her, you've got about 30 years on her, you know?
Thanks, Pearl.
So, in other words, let's protect the kids. The kids are gonna do what we do. If we let things go to hell, what's gonna happen? The kids are gonna do the same thing. So, again, you're doing a good job, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment before we adjourn? All right, we can go ahead and move to adjourn.